Hey, I'm Coach Colin Castello with Shot Mechanics Basketball, and today I'm going to teach you how to shoot like Kobe Bryant. All right, so today I'm going to teach you the ins and outs of Kobe Bryant's jumper, and then so hopefully you can take a couple of these keys, add them to your game so you can shoot like Kobe. Now before we get started, I also want to let you know you get a free copy of my #1 NBA shooting workout. Click the button above or the link in the description. This is going to change the way you kind of think about training your shot, and it's going to help you probably shoot a higher percentage immediately. So the very first thing, now that we're kind of talking about Kobe Bryant's jumper, right, I want to start with footwork. Kobe's kind of known for his footwork. And so one thing you notice with Kobe's jumper is that he uses different footwork in different situations. Now, a lot of times coaches will tell you always have to shoot off of a hop or you always have to shoot off of a 1-2 step. But the thing you notice about elite shooters and guys like Kobe is that they're able to shoot off of either in pretty much any situation. So when Kobe's shooting from the perimeter, he's got a few different options, right? The first one is the classic 1-2 step. So as he's coming in and he's catching, he's going a 1-step, 2-step, right? That's pretty tried and true. It works for a lot of players. But the thing that I don't love about the 1-2 step is it's not quite as fast and you don't get quite as much power. So the second option is, if the ball's coming, is a 2-footed hop, where you're jumping off of 2 feet at the same time, setting them at the simultaneous action, jumping right into your shot. Now the thing is that I really love about Kobe is he's able to use them in different situations, right? He's not always going to shoot a hop. He's not always going to shoot a 1-2. It just kind of depends, situation. If he's shooting a step back, he's coming this way, it might make more sense to do a hop. If he's shooting off of the dribble going to his right, he might use a 1-2, right? So the whole kind of key that you want to try to do is work on both footwork and in different game scenarios. So at the end of this video, we're going to give you a couple drills that are going to help you out to kind of get this footwork down a little bit as well. So you're going to want to stick tuned for that. So the whole key here is generally to kind of reiterate, I like both, but I like a hop better when all things are equal because you get a little bit more power, you get a little bit more pop. And the key to a hop when you're catching the ball is you want to make sure that your heels are off the ground and you're loading on the balls of your feet, right? Because that gives you that kind of natural springboard. If you're going to do a 1-2 step, that's okay, but just make sure you're doing the same thing, that as the ball comes, you're not planting your heel and planting your heel. If you're doing that, it's going to suck a lot of energy out of your body. So instead, do the same thing, boom, boom, but try to stick that toe so your heel's coming off the ground. If you can do that, you can shoot out of a 1-2 and a hop, just like Kobe. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is Kobe's 2-motion shot. Now, I don't highly recommend a 2-motion shot for most players. Kobe was able to perfect and get away with it. Number one, because he's really athletic. Number two, he can jump really high. And number three, he's pretty tall. So basically, the idea of a 2-motion jumper is just as you're getting ready to shoot the basketball, it's going to go back before it goes forward, right? So guys like Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, those guys kind of have 2-motion jump shots, even like Michael Jordan too. But the issue with the 2-motion jump shot is that as you're coming up, you're losing that upward momentum of your body and your power. So depending on how strong you are or how athletic you are, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. Now the key to seeing if you have a 2-motion shot a lot of times lies in your set point. So what you'll notice with Kobe is as he brought the ball back, generally the ball is going to be a little higher above his forehead, this direction, and so his elbow was generally pointed at the rim when he got to his set point. Now the issue with this is if you're a shorter player, right, or maybe not as athletic, if you get there and you shoot, it's going to come out pretty flat. So I see this as an issue with a lot of players. So instead what I would do is you can have Kobe Bryant's set point, but you need to make sure the timing's just right. Because what a lot of players do is they get up to that high set point, but their legs are still locked and loaded down here in this direction. If you do that, it's hard to get that upward momentum and energy, right? So if you're gonna have a higher set point like Kobe, just make sure that it's reaching that set point as your legs are locking out and your toes are getting ready to leave the ground, just like this. Even if it's higher, if you can get to that high point as your toes are leaving the ground, you're still gonna maximize that upward momentum into the basketball and towards the hoop, right? Because at the end of the day, we still wanna make sure we get enough power and arc on the basketball, because if it's too flat, that's gonna affect your shot negatively. So, if you're trying to, just make sure that you get to your set point, whether it's here like Kobe, a little lower like Steph Curry, whatever it is. You wanna make sure that you're getting there as your toes are getting ready to leave the ground. That way you're getting that perfect momentum and energy in the basketball. And that's what allowed Kobe to hit like fadeaways, tough shots over defenders, all that sort of good stuff. All right, so the next thing you notice on Kobe's footwork is that he lands forward when he shoots. So instead of catching and shooting and going straight up and down like a lot of coaches and players think is necessary, you'll notice that Kobe's feet come forward just a little bit. So if he's shooting a three-pointer and he's catching and he's getting ready to fire, most of the time when he shoots and he lands, his feet are going to land on the inside of the three-point line. And what this does is it allows his feet to come forward, his shoulders to relax back, and a lot of times releases a ton of upward tension in his shoulders. So when you're shooting, it's gonna be a little bit different depending on what's most comfortable. You know, some people like their feet to come way forward, some people only like to come forward just a few inches, but the idea is you wanna practice catching the basketball and shooting and letting your feet come forward just slightly and then figuring out what's most comfortable, right? You wanna experiment with both ways. You wanna see what it feels like to have a big feet forward. You wanna see what it feels like to have a small little drift of your feet forward. It all just depends on what works best for you. All right, so now let's talk about Kobe's leg counterbalance. Now this is something he uses anytime he was pulling up going to his right-hand side because he's a right-handed shooter. And basically it's just the idea is that as he's attacking and he's getting ready to pull up, right? Kobe was known for those big time pull-ups going to his right. As he's getting ready to shoot and as he's releasing the basketball, he's letting his right leg counterbalance across his body. So as he comes up, it's releasing across just like that. Now the reason why he uses that leg as a counterbalance is because all of his momentum and energy, if he's going to the right that fast, it's hard to get your feet turned and get that smooth shot up. So basically what you saw from Kobe is it kind of looked like a fadeaway, but the idea was as his foot comes across, this foot allows the counterbalance of his shoulders to stay on balance. A lot of coaches and players will see this and they think like, oh, that was a crazy off-balance jumper, but actually the leg was what allowed it to be under more control if he didn't, right? If you're coming for this pull-up going to your right as fast as you can and you just try to stop on a dime without a counterbalance, a lot of times when you shoot, you're just gonna drift the same direction, right? That leg allows you to counter that momentum, slow it up, and then that way, you know, you can transfer everything up rather than sideways. Now the key here is to find out how big of a counterbalance you need, and generally the faster you're moving, the more counterbalance you're gonna need. So if you're at like a full sprint coming this direction, you try to pull up, you're probably gonna need a pretty big one like Kobe had a lot of times, right? He was always attacking at full speed. If you're moving a little bit slower, so let's say I'm not going full speed, I'm just like hezzy pull up, whatever it is, I might just need a little tiny counterbalance where my leg's just barely coming up and across. So you're gonna wanna experiment depending on the situation, depending on if you're 10 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet, 3, it's probably gonna change your counterbalance, but it's something that Kobe's really, really good at and helped him hit a lot of shots. All right, so to work on this counterbalance, we're gonna do what we call the 15-foot counterbalance drill. Now the idea is we're gonna get 2 shots, we're gonna get one of both elbows, and we're just gonna work back and forth. But the idea is anytime we're driving to our dominant hand side, so since I'm a righty, it's anytime I'm going to my right, is that we're gonna work on using that counterbalance. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna spin the ball to yourself at an elbow, and you're going to attack towards the opposite elbow. Now for this, I want you attacking kind of more laterally than at an attack angle because I want you really working on that counterbalance. So instead of going forward with my dribble on this drill, I'm gonna go sideways along the free throw line, and then once I get to the other elbow, I'm pulling up, letting that counterbalance leg come across. I'm gonna get my rebound, or rebounder is gonna kick it back to me, then I'm gonna come back, attack, do the exact same thing, but this time I'm going full speed, going left. Now again, because I'm a righty, I don't need to use the counterbalance, because if I'm going left and I throw my right leg out, that doesn't make any sense, right? So the idea is here I want to pop and gather my momentum up as much as I possibly can and not let that drift. Same thing, ball comes back, full speed, I'm planning. Again, because I'm moving sideways, it's gonna be harder. I really gotta let that leg come through to get that counterbalance, relieve that shoulder tension, keep that shot nice and smooth. So you get your reps back and forth. You can do this all over the court if you want. So you want to work the baseline. You can even do it from the 3-point line. This is kind of the base set that you can use that's really easy to see the lines on the court. All right, so if this video helped you out, feel free to hit that like button and then head to the comment section down below and let me know what sort of video you want to see next. This is a channel for the people, by the people, and I run pretty much everything out for request, so leave it down below and hopefully I'll get to it. And if you're new to Shot Mechanics, you're gonna want to do 2 things. Number 1, hit that subscription button because we put out videos every week and they're all gonna get you better, I guarantee it. The second thing you're gonna wanna do is click the button down here. You're gonna get a free copy of my #1 NBA shooting workout. This shooting workout is gonna change the way you think about training your jumper, and it's probably gonna help increase your shooting percentage the very first time you use it. So I highly recommend you check that out. All right, again, I'm Coach Colin Castello with Shot Mechanics Basketball. Thanks for watching, and until next time, splash.